friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin. We're in the garden today. We have a lot to talk about. 3 days ago we had what I hope is our last cold weather. We had 3 nights that it got into the 30s, low 30s, and 1 night that it got to 29. So that wasn't ideal. But I think mostly everything is okay. I did just find one thing that I'm actually really upset about, but I'm thinking it should be fine. I'll show you that in a bit. But I think everything else is largely fine. I covered up a lot of things that needed to be covered up. I lost 2 green bean plants, I think. And then I planted early. Anyway, I'll show you them in a second. But other than that, I think everything survived really well. So I'm hoping that was the last cold front we have, because we are now just planting stuff out. I have some things I have to put in the ground, so I'm hoping to get them in today. But I was out here weeding 2 days ago, and I'm weeding the potato patch, and I smelled rotten potatoes. I was like, no, I don't smell rotten potatoes. I don't smell that. So I pulled the ground back, and let's do this together. I haven't done this patch yet, so let's do this together. Pulled the ground back, looking for my potatoes. I actually don't smell it up here, but I don't see potatoes yet either, though. No potatoes there. Okay, this one's fine. This one is just starting to put off a little bit of an eye. So that one's good. But I covered this whole area with potatoes. And I can't find any of them. So what has definitely happened is my potatoes rotted. Here's one. That's a little rotten potato. So I'm not necessarily throwing it out of the garden, because at the very least I'll compost in place. And I'm like, well, maybe it'll still grow a potato. But I went and I bought new seed potato. So I typically don't buy seed potato. All seed potato is potato that they let grow eyes. The potatoes you buy from the store can be sprayed so they don't grow eyes, but I think most of us know if we buy potatoes from the store, they grow eyes. So those potatoes you can plant. They just need to have some eyes on them, and you can throw them in the ground. It is April 23rd. I typically plant out my potatoes around mid-April, like April 10th to April 15th. So I'm about 2 weeks late now. I was super early, and now I'm 2 weeks late. So I had to stop and buy my potatoes. So I did buy them, and I chitted them, which means I took a big potato that had a whole bunch of eyes, and I cut it so that I have like an eye, at least one eye on each piece. You don't want to cut them too small. So like this potato has 2 eyes on this piece. You don't need to cut it too small. You don't want to cut it into individual eyes. A couple eyes on one potato is fine, but I am a little late now. These were the last of the potatoes I could find. At least I went to one place today that I thought would have them. They were almost out. These are Red Norlands and Kennebecks. I typically do Yukon Golds. So these are all just going to be white potatoes for my spring harvest, my summer harvest. And then I'll have to get some Yukon Golds for my summer harvest. But that's a future project. But because I'm late, rather than going to buy whatever potatoes I wanted from the grocery store, I just bought my seed potatoes. So I cut them. I'd let them sit out for about an hour to get a little bit of they're not fully hardened, but I think they'll be fine. And I'm gonna go put them just kind of cut side down in this potato patch. So what started out as an early task done, we're redoing. I don't think this had anything to do with getting the potatoes in as early as I did. I got them in early, but I don't think they shouldn't have rotted. I think what honestly happened is I think I honestly just let them get too small. These were July harvested potatoes. I think I just let them get I think I let them go too far. I tried to push them too far, so they just rotted. So not all of them did, but I think about 3/4 of them did. So I'm gonna go pull the straw back and throw these potatoes on the ground. first task done. That was super easy. Disappointing that I had to redo it, but easy. Okay, now we're gonna go from the most complicated problem to the easiest problem, I think. So one of the things that I talk about with my garden a lot is the need to bring in some sort of soil or manure or compost or something. I do have my own compost bin, which I did pull from this year in many cases. And it actually covered a lot of my stuff. But I have 2 new beds from last year. This bed right there, and then there's one right here beside me. There are 2 new beds from last year that barely had any dirt in them. So I needed to fill them up, and you can see that they're filled. But I've always used Miracle-Gro, and I honestly have great success with Miracle-Gro. However, Miracle-Gro is not good. It has chemicals in it. It's not the organic solution. And as someone who wants an organic garden, I keep going organic. So I've done 2 different types of soil before, and I did Black Cow last year, and then this year, I don't even know what it's called. I did an organic soil that looked really good. I'm not pleased with either one. The Black Cow, at least I think I had results with Black Cow. This organic one, it came out of the bag hydrophobic. So I filled these 2 beds with that soil. It is hydrophobic, and now I've had my onions and kale I've had my onions in the ground for a month now, and I don't see any growth in them. So I definitely think that the soil lacks nutrients, so I need to add nutrients to the places where I put the soil. That's problem number 1. I'm hoping I have something to add to it. I need to go check the compost bin and see what I can get from the compost bin, but I'm out of buckets too. I gotta see what I can get from the compost bin so I can maybe try to sprinkle some compost onto these beds. Number 2, all of my plants are yellowing. That could be from a nutrient deficiency, or that could be from that cold snap we just had. Before the cold snap, we didn't have yellowing. So I'm going to treat everything with nitrogen. It's time to treat the onion beds with nitrogen anyway. So I am going to go treat the beds with nitrogen. The yellowing could be iron, it could be magnesium, or it could be nitrogen. So I have nitrogen. I'm going to throw that on the ground, and I'm going to see what other compost or other fertilizer I have to add to all these beds. I think it was just the cold snap, but everything's looking a little yellow. So first steps first, nitrogen and fertilizer, and then we're going to see what I can try to add to these onion beds to help boost up this soil. Okay, down here I have earthworm castings, an old bag of earthworm castings. I have bone meal, that's for phosphorus. I don't think I have a phosphorus deficiency. And then I have the blood meal, and that is the nitrogen. So let's spray the blood meal on here. And then when I was just thinking, I do have fish fertilizer, so I could just do fish fertilizer. All plants love fish fertilizer, so I think we have to water today anyway, so I think we're gonna do the fish fertilizer. So let's do nitrogen on the onion beds, and then when we get to the watering, we'll do the fish fertilizer. Okay. Now I'm very dirty, but that is problem number 1. Okay, let's go look at problem number 2. In the broccoli in the kohlrabi bin, and I actually have my broccoli plants not only doing some yellowing, but their leaves are curling. So I don't know what that is, but that can't be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of everything, nitrogen, phosphorus, and the earthworm castings onto here, this is not new soil, so this soil shouldn't be curling, or this soil shouldn't have any issues with it. And it's been raining, so this shouldn't be from too much rain. Let me actually Google that. I'm gonna Google that and then we'll see what I need to do. I Googled and I don't know what to do. So tomatoes and other plants, they curl their leaves. They would curl them in like that. I know what to do there. That's typically a sign of underwatering or overwatering, one of the two, and or a nutrient deficiency. I've seen that one. I've never seen plants do this. One of the, oh, here's a little plant that got pulled out. Let me put you back in. I doubt you'll survive, but, oh, well, you're not. You're crunchy. A little plant got pulled out. So, it said it could be from overwatering, but aside from rain, I haven't watered in a week. So I don't think that's it. It said it could be due to like temperature fluctuations. And 2 nights ago we were at 29 and today we are at like 85 in the sun. So maybe it's that. I'm gonna put earthworm casings on it because that won't hurt it. That'll just be a nice fertilizer. And then I'm just gonna leave it go. Leave it go for a couple days and see if it gets better or see if it still continues to be sickly looking. But the other thing that I wanted to show you is, do you see this back here? And this. Do you see this? This is the broccoli plants we started together. So if you remember, I planted these broccoli plants and they quickly started to flower and I was plucking off the flowers. It didn't matter. Once it tried to start to flower, it flowered. So for some reason, these starts just went right to seed. And every single one did. Every single broccoli went to seed. So I am uber happy that I got these other starts in here. Before the cold front, they were looking good. And they've actually grown quite a bit. I honestly don't remember looking at these recently at all. I know I have, but I don't remember. But they've grown quite a bit. And then over here is my kohlrabi plants. So in this bed, our kohlrabi is starting to grow, as is all of these. I need to pull every single one. These are Jerusalem artichokes. I planted one here last year, not realizing what it was, but I'm not getting it out. Not realizing what it was, and I really like them. They're very pretty, but I don't want them. I don't want them in this garden, and they are growing everywhere. Oh. It was a mistake to put these in the garden. So I've already dug a whole bunch of these out and tried to transplant them. I have so many. Like, you just leave a little bit. It's like a tuber. You leave a little bit behind, it's gonna keep coming. I've already transplanted so many out, trying to get them to grow outside other places in the garden. Right there. So these ones I'm just ripping. Oh my god, there's so many. Oh my god, there's so many. I went through this. Even when I planted the kohlrabi, I went through this looking for kohlrabi, or looking for artichokes. When I get the kohlrabi out, I just have to pick them like this for now. And then when the kohlrabi come out, I'll have to try to dig more of these roots out. There's a little bit. At least it's not like the prickly thistle that hurts. The thistle hurts. At least it's a pretty plant. And it is a food source. So it is in the right place. But it does spread like crazy. I'm pleased to see all the different kohlrabi plants of different sizes. And then I have some volunteers. I have some beans here. I don't know where they came from, but grow baby grow. And then I have some sunflowers in here too. So, I actually don't know. Maybe you're not a bean. I forget what this is. I feel like I always say it's a bean, and then I'm like, oh wait, that's not a bean. I have something like this, so I need to see what that is, but we'll wait and see what happens to that. But that was one problem. The broccoli going to seed and everything looking a little wilty. So I guess I'm just gonna actually let it go and see what happens. Now I'm gonna go put the earthworm casings on that bed. Oh, but then my cabbage bed over here. Let's show you my cabbage bed. That bed's looking great. I have weeded that bed and it is looking phenomenal. So I'll give that a little bit of earthworm casings too. And then we'll talk about the mess of this garden, okay? Give me a second. Okay, bag is empty and this bag is old. So they're probably not as potent as they used to be, but hopefully they still do something. Okay, so now let's talk about the mess of this garden. So it's, like I said, it's April 23rd. Next weekend is the weekend where I do my whole big garden shopping trip, which I'm so excited for. That's in a week and a half. Not even, it's in a week and a day. And I'm so excited. I had to go get the potatoes at a nursery and they had everything out. Peppers, tomatoes, everything. I did buy one pepper that I don't have that I knew I did need. But I wanted to buy all the stuff. I'm like, don't buy all the stuff yet. So the garden is still messy. I did get the weed eater and I weed eated yesterday a lot of the space. I still have more to do. I haven't cleaned up this whole space yet. That is on the agenda for this, well, maybe next weekend. It's on the agenda for an upcoming weekend. I'm so excited to get everything planted out. So what's happening for me is I have a lot of I have everything out for spring, right? I just replanted potatoes, but I have my onions, I have my broccoli, I have everything out for spring. It is too early to put out the summer stuff. The broccoli, the zucchini, the cabbage, or the peppers, eggplants, pumpkins, squash, all this stuff. It's too early for it. So the spaces, like over here, let's turn you away from the spring garden. Like over here, there's no point in me really cleaning all that up when I'm honestly not gonna plant my tomatoes, my peppers. I won't plant my peppers for at least 3 more weeks. The tomatoes might go out, so they've gone out occasionally at the end of April, but my tomatoes are not hardened off yet. I don't have the tomato trellis up for the tomatoes yet, so I don't honestly think next weekend is going to be the weekend for it either. I'm thinking more like the first weekend of May, because we just had a frost. I don't want to put anything out. I'm just like, we're still not out of the danger zone for the frost. That was either a big bee or the first hummingbird of the year. I don't know if you caught that. I don't know what that was. If that was a hummingbird, brilliant. I have my hummingbird feeders out. I haven't seen any yet, so I'm really hoping that was a hummingbird. Anyway, I digress. So we have at least 2 weeks before the summer stuff starts coming out. This weekend I do want to start moving stuff out of the basement and start the hardening off process. But I keep telling myself we have time. So the summer garden areas look messy, and they're gonna look messy until like the week before I do this, because you can, I cut everything down. It's going to regrow between now and when I planned. I need to get cardboard, I need to get more straw. So I try to clean it up a little bit, but I'll be completely honest. It is hard sometimes to see this garden. So there's my strawberry bed. We'll go over here. I lost a lot of my strawberries this year. We had a really cold winter, and then to be completely honest, I broke my foot in the fall, and you have to cover your strawberries, and I covered them, but I don't think I did a good enough job. I wasn't able to drive to go get straw, so I think I used what I had, if I remember correctly, which I just don't think it was enough. And I wasn't gonna have people I already had people going to take me grocery shopping and taking me out. I was gonna be like, can you also take me to get straw? And then you have to carry it, and then you have to load it into my house and take it down to my garden. So I did the best that I could, and that's just gonna be what it's gonna be. But I have a lot of empty space in the strawberry area. But the whole point of what I'm saying is there are so many weeds. I'm not enjoying the garden. Even the garden beds that are growing plants, like this one here, is growing broccoli. I just weeded that bed a week ago, and the thistle is coming back up like crazy. So I'm gonna end this with you guys here in a minute, and then go get gloves and start pulling that broccoli. I like it, like everybody does, when the garden is relatively clean. I did mix up a vinegar solution, the vinegar salt solution to kill weeds. I did that 2 days ago. I don't think a single weed has been killed. So I think tomorrow's supposed to be another sunny day. I'm gonna try to do it tomorrow again and see if I can kill some of these weeds. But we did cut over here, so at least it's shorter. And then I just need to go get cardboard, bring cardboard in, and lay down straw. But I just don't like this garden when she's messy. It's really hard to enjoy being out here and doing the garden walks when she's messy. And right now we're just kind of, well, I was watching Rachel, that 1870s homestead, and she has a type of thistle too that is really just wreaking havoc in her garden. And they were talking recently about just literally moving their garden, abandoning their current space and moving their garden. I briefly thought about moving this garden into a different location. This garden is the garden that has the weeds, because once the thistle came in, I didn't use poison because I don't like to use poison. But what I will say is that pasture, I can count on 2 hands the number of thistles growing in that main pasture. Whereas what's happening up here that we just showed you by the strawberry bed, that was the thistle, that was the pasture area, or that flat area 2 years ago. So what I think that means is I think I need to have more poison whipped up by my dad, and I need to continue to spray this area up here. The problem with that is I can't spray the thistle in the beds. So I'm only spraying the paths, not the beds. So the thistle's still growing in the beds, which is still spreading it through the garden. But I feel positive that that whole pasture area looks better than it did. A lot of the weeds that were growing too, which I'm fine with, are red dead nettle. So a lot of what I cut down is red dead nettle. And here's a big patch. Red dead nettle comes out so easily. I don't necessarily really consider this a weed. This is a beneficial thing. I think I'm actually going to take this guy inside. I wanted to harvest some of him anyway. So I think I'm actually going to take this guy inside and dry him. Ow. Got a thistle in here too, I guess. I just got poked. Right there it is. Right there's a little sucker. So I don't really consider this a weed, but this is what took over a good chunk of this garden. So at least it was this and not just completely thistle. This has great medicinal value. You can eat this. It has great minerals and vitamins. I think the word is just vitamins, not minerals and vitamins, just vitamins. But this is something, so the garden for me is obviously for food and for nutrition. This dandelions, chicory, wild lettuce, I'm looking around seeing what else I got. I got wild lettuce in here. Dandelions, green onions. While these make the garden look messy, I don't honestly care. I will never spray these. I will never try to keep these out of my garden, because all of these plants, these weeds, these are medicinal. They are a food source. I can eat them. My animals can eat them. If I'm lacking in nutrients, if we're having some sort of starvation, I can eat these. So I don't necessarily hate these in the garden. I do hate the thistle, even though the thistle has medicinal benefits. I could care less. At this point, I really do feel like thistle could cure cancer, and I would still get it out of my garden. I wouldn't, but that's how much I hate thistle. It's on the same level of how much I hate cancer. But so we did get a lot of this cleaned up. We have a lot more we need to do. I'm gonna have to continue to spray the thistle up here. So hopefully I enjoy coming out into this garden again. I think it's probably been cold, so I haven't come out. But there's a lot to do. So before we do our next project, I do want to show you what we have happening there. So that tree there is a gorgeous tree. I got it from my mom. She has a huge one, and this is why I'm not panicking. So I always call it the rain chain tree. I think it's just called the golden chain tree. Anyway, it's a very pretty tree. It flowers, it's gorgeous. My mom has had hers for like 25 years. It's huge, beautiful, lovely. It was flowering. All of her blooms are dead. All of that you see on that tree, it's just dead. So I don't know if it was the flowers that's just dead. I think it's the leaves too. And so I'm hoping that didn't kill the tree. My thought process is my mom has had this tree for like 25 years. I guarantee they've gotten a frost after that tree has set. So I'm thinking it's gonna come back, but right now it's lost everything on it, and I am sad. So that tree, I guess, may not bloom this year. So we'll have to see. So, okay, let me go get the next thing, and then we're gonna move on to the next project, which I also shouldn't technically be doing, but we're doing. Look at these plants. Look how insane these are. So these are my cosmos, and I need to make a mental note that I started these when I started my tomatoes. We don't have to do that. These can wait because they look like this. They are actively starting to set buds too. So these need to go in the ground. These are heat loving plants. They're not going to enjoy the cooler weather that I have coming. If we were to frost, these would get covered and potentially die. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I didn't want to put these out until I planted like the tomatoes, until like we were past the danger zone. They're not going to wait. So I'm going to throw these in the ground. And they are leggy, so they're probably not going to be like a nice compact plant. They're probably going to be a little crazy. But at this point, the garden's crazy, I'm crazy, it's all crazy. Let's go for it. So I'm just going to go around and tuck these everywhere. I did make a rule for myself this year that every single garden bed must have a flower. So I don't necessarily want every single garden bed to have a Cosmo, but we have a lot. But every single garden bed must have a flower. So let's go ahead and just start throwing some Cosmos. But even though it rained the past couple days, this ground is stupidly dry. I planted those cosmos. I honestly don't know if they're gonna survive. They're so weedy, they're so long. But every single place I put them was drier than a bone. I don't really understand. We just got, like, yesterday it rained all morning and it was a nice soaking rain, so I don't get it. But I am gonna go through and water all the beds first with this fish fertilizer, and then we'll call it a night. The sun is starting to go down. The outside cat is now dictating my schedule. My Maxi Moo that you've seen wandering around, he has to go in around 7 because at 7 o'clock he likes to wander and he leaves this yard, he goes hunting. It is 7:40 and currently I have him in the garage and he is eating, but I am going to need to finish this task so I can close up the garage and put him to bed. So we're going to water everything real quick and then I'll be back to sign off. Okay, that's it folks. I got everything watered. I got everything fertilized. So here's hoping that it all grows. I decided this weekend I need to spend time, and I'm going to spend time getting these paths cleared. It's the fact that I don't have my paths and I can't see my individual garden beds that's driving me crazy. So next time you see this, or next time you see this garden, hopefully you see more paths. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye friends.